Conversations with Malik podcast, coming to you from Long Island, New York. I'm glad to have you and thank you all who are listening and watching this show. This podcast is about the stories of transformation of regular people during the basic struggle and pain of life. Everybody has a testimony. We all have survived the darkness. Now let's talk about how we got to the light so we can help our brothers and sisters who still haven't overcome their demons. But guess what? We all have devils on different levels. So through conversations, we use the tools of insight to light the path of hope. Let's have a chat and stop running from our issues. If we live through it, then talk inward so we can grow outward is the theme of the show. The caterpillar transforming into the butterfly is the goal and purpose of this podcast. When you talk about you, I learn about me. Iron sharpens iron and steel sharpens steel, so we can cut through the fog of despair into the hope of today. And welcome to Conversations with Malik. And please don't forget to follow us at convoswithmalik.com, convoswithmalik.com. There you will find all our social media links. We got the link to Facebook. Follow us at Conversations with Malik on Facebook, YouTube, Conversations with Malik, Instagram, Con W Malik. Like us, subscribe, share us. You know, on YouTube, hit the bell. I guess you gotta hit the bell, and so that you can subscribe and you can get the alerts when the new shows come up. And listen, we're working, and the whole purpose of this show is we highlight stories of wonderful people who have an impact on the community, people who have a profound impact on other people, and we talk about our journeys here so that we can inspire hope in somebody else. And so listen, thank you for everybody who helps out with the show. I want to give a shout out to, Wendell, the cameraman with the plan for all the hard work that he does. Justin Ma, social media and website manager who, listen, Justin, you're doing a terrific job with those images that come up on the website. Kareem the Dream Rahim with his engineering and audio prowess, how he never seems to amaze me, how he really cuts it up and makes sure that we sound like and are an authentic, high quality podcast. And so, listen, thank you for everybody who sends us guests and all of the public relations people. You know who you are. Honored to be able to have guests and interview people. And listen, without further ado, I'm here with Larry Carthan from Elite Marching Band of Queens. Give it up for Larry. And the brother has an amazing story. I've been dying to have you here, brother. Yes. We work together, doing some other things. I'm glad to provide trips for you guys when you go to spread what it is that you do with the youth. And they get busy. I was exposed to y'all some years ago when I saw them playing, and they rocked the house though. I'm talking about when they rock, they rock.
Thank you.
I was reading your story. I was reading an article in the Huffington Post. I was watching interviews on you.
Yes.
Very unassuming, sir. As the more I read about you, I said, wow, this brother has a really powerful story. He has a powerful walk. First and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm doing great today. It's just a pleasure to be here. Conversation with Malik. I follow your program, and it's a fantastic program. And I hope that people view into the program and get the knowledge that they need to inspire them to do better things. And I'm just happy to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. Yes. And so, I was looking and I said, wow, Wall Street brother. And so the dynamic from going to Wall Street to, when people think of Wall Street, look, we think of Occupy Wall Street and how, I just finished reading the book, The New Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Yes.
When you think of Wall Street and you're knowledgeable, you're thinking like, wow, these are the people who play a part in overthrowing governments economically, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Heavy hitters, the money can curve a market in a matter of a wink. Because the billions of dollars that go through the marketplace every day, and the various commodities that are traded every day that most people don't even know about.
Wow.
So it's been exciting. probably Wall Street 29 years
Wow.
of my life. And I started from the bottom and worked my way up to the top to actually trader. I traded foreign exchange for many years.
Wow.
Marks, French francs, all kind of currencies, Japanese yen. So I was exposed to a great deal of things and a great deal of knowledge and how to interact with people that move the market, that move money. Because remember, I'm a young man from Brooklyn, New York, you know, not really knowing much, and to work my way all the way up to Wall Street was a monumental feat for me to be able to do this. But I cherished every moment, and I learned from all the individuals that were around me. There was various people that came from different walks of life. You had European brothers, brothers from London, brothers from France. All the different currencies had individuals that traded it, but their nationalities were what I was more interested in, and how they became traders. Right. So as we sit down and we speak about different things and we converse over trading ideas, I learned a lot about their culture.
And it exposed you and opened you up to the world.
Oh, it opened me up to the world because now I look at people differently, and I look at money differently. You know, money. You know, it was never. You know, when you don't come from money and you don't have money, you try to learn to navigate with it and appreciate it more, and not just squander it. And working on Wall Street, it taught me the value of investing, understanding investing, how you can grow with investments, and investments within your area where you live, in your community. It's very easy to invest and look around and see how your dollar can work.
Despite your dollar can work for you.
Dollar can work for you and for your community. Because as you develop, your community develops. Okay. As you become more profitable and understanding margins and things of that nature, you can bring your brother along or your sister along and say, listen, let's open up this here. Let's invest in this. This is how we can do it. If we pool our money together, it's very easy to open up a barbershop, right, to open up a laundromat, to open up things that can bring money within the community. Right. So being on Wall Street, remember I was a young guy, 20 years old, 21 years old, I started on Wall Street. Right. So straight out of college, so I didn't know anything. Right. So being on Wall Street, it just showed me how the other half lives.
Well, let's take it back. So, young man growing up in Brooklyn, tell me about your youth and what life was like growing up.
Well, single parent household, number one. Brothers and sisters.
What part of Brooklyn?
Bushwick.
Bushwick, okay.
Some parts of Bedside. Because we moved around a lot back then. You know, in the 70s, you moved a lot. You wasn't really stable at the time because the money wasn't flowing like that. With a single parent. And my mother was a great woman. She was trying to find her way through the whole process. And the thing that really, we didn't have much, but you wouldn't think that we were poor. We did the welfare thing, we had the welfare, the food stamps, and my mother used to give me a book and say, go down there and buy something, and I see my friends, I wait a half an hour. They come out the store.
Can't see you online with the tearing off the...
I'm starving, I'm waiting. I said, listen, you guys done yet? I'll meet y'all at the park. Listen, give me this, give me that. Right. How many pages you want me to rip out the book? Right. So we went through that, we waited on the line, that welfare line, you get up and you try to go get your cheese and things of that nature. This is reality.
The welfare cheese was good though, by the way.
Oh, I love that.
I made some good grilled cheese. Oh, man. I'll defend welfare cheese. And, till the cows come home, made some excellent grilled cheese with that welfare cheese.
Yes.
But I digress.
So those are, a typical, I would say, black family back then, just struggling and trying to make ends meet. Yeah. But I respected the fact that my mother worked very hard. Mm-hmm. She put herself through college. Nice. And she set a great example for us to follow. Okay, despite all of the, not having proper things on Christmas and all my friends running around with the good stuff and the bicycles, I might have gotten a pen and a pad and say, hey, Merry Christmas, son, that type of thing. But I understood what she was trying to do and I respected the fact. And I always told myself, I'm going to make myself better. Gotcha. Despite of turmoil and situations, I said, there's got to be something better than this.
There's more to life.
There's more to life. I'm just going to hold on and just try to figure it out.
When did you get exposed to music?
Oh, man.
Instruments?
About 5 years old. 5 years old. My grandfather was a saxophone player.
Really?
Yeah, he was into jazz. He played saxophone. He played ukulele. Okay. And he used to walk around the house. So when I was 5, he said, I need a drum. I need somebody to play drums. And I was like, yeah, I'll play. Like that. So we used to watch these programs that came on TV every day. He told me, watch these programs before you go to bed. It was Don Kirshner's rock concert. It came on, it was a live show that came on, the Wolfman Jack. It used to come on Saturday evenings, and he had the live band.
He goes back now.
And I used to sit there, well, you know, I'm 60 years old, so I'm back in the day.
You're back.
So, you know, do this. So my grandfather used to tell my mother, listen, we got to get him a drum set. We got to get him something. So they finally, one Christmas, they went out and got me a Slingline drum set. It was a metallic orange. I'll never forget it. And it was sitting in the middle of the floor. And I went crazy. And I sat down and my grandpa said, okay, be ready tomorrow, because you're going to get your first lesson on this to play some jazz. So I said, uh-oh. So he brought out the saxophone. He said, follow me, man. Follow me, son. Follow me. I'm sitting there like you gotta get it right already. I mean, we just started. Right? Your mother spent a lot of money for this drum set, so you better get it right. So let's go. Right. So I go in there and I start jamming. No, you didn't get it right. And he pushed me to the point where, you know, the drum set actually became a part of me. You know, I wasn't into the. He was telling me about the notes. You know, the half note, the quarter note. And when you come off of here and you do that roll, you come back on the one. You make sure you're on the one now.
You gotta go on the one.
Because you're messing me up. I said, well, I don't want to mess you up at 7 years old. I want to make sure I get this thing right. So after a while, man, I started playing on drums. I was beating the wood off of them drums. The skins, everything was falling off. And I had, it just became a part of me. So when I started, middle school, they had a band there. And I wouldn't say I was the ideal student. I'm not going to say that. Because, you know, back then you had your little situations with teachers and, you know, you tested situations. And I remember one day running through the hallway and one of the music teacher grabbed me by the neck and he said, listen, you can't carry on like this here. You're going to have to come to my music class this first period. I hear you got some hands and you're going to play for me. And you're going to get them grades. You're going to make sure you get those grades. I said, you're not my father. No, I'm telling you what you're going to do if you're in front of me. Right. So right there, that was the turning point in my life to understand right from wrong, because nobody was telling me right from wrong back then. Right? So when he grabbed me,
he kind of put expectations, right, and a sense of responsibility. He transferred it to you, and you received it.
Precisely. He made me feel that your skill level, you're important. You're important to the school, and you're important to me. So I need you to come to my class first period, and I'm going to make sure. And I had gym first period. And I don't play ball. I said, no, you're going to come to band, and then you're going to go to gym, and I'll set it up. When I got into this class, this man took me through a tutorial process. He said, I'm going to make you great. I'm going to make you, you're good, but I'm going to make you great. Wow. I said, okay, all right, whatever you say.
Yeah.
So I started playing, man, and we had these concerts, and and then he got me involved with the community band, because this is a brother from the community.
Yeah.
So he got me involved with the community band, guys playing guitar, so I'm understanding the riff, and Don Kirshner started coming back to me at the rock concert. I said, I'm in now. I can feel it now.
Yeah.
So now, spiritually, I'm starting to feel the atmosphere and feeling this whole aura of what I can do with music.
You start to feel worthy. And then you're starting to get a sense of purpose.
Sense of purpose, a sense of value and education within one. It was confusing, but it came to a head. After I graduated, he stood up and he shook my hand and he said, you're going to be great someday. I said, I don't know what you're going to be great in, but
we still ain't figured that out yet. But it's going to be something.
I was still doing some stuff. I wasn't a total.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I wasn't either. Trust me.
So he said, I'm going to tell you the school you're going to go to, the high school you're going to go to. Because there's a gentleman by the name of Mr. Abel. He's the band director. And you're going to go to Bushwick High School, right here from you. You're going to go there, and you're going to be in the band. Tell him I sent you. Okay, I go there. I'm looking at high school. It's like huge. And I'm like, wow.
It's like when you were young, I remember the first time I walked to high school, I was like, it looked like a world in there.
Yeah,
and it was.
People flying around, everybody going to class, the bell going off. Yeah. I'm like, so I walk into the music room, the music room is huge. big old Gretsch drum set sitting there, and everything looked good. And I'm looking at the drum set, and he said, "How you doing, Larry?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You're gonna be the drummer of the school. You're gonna, I heard great things about you." So, and I felt so good because now I'm in high school, but now I have a comfort zone because you heard about me. You're welcoming me.
Right.
I didn't meet all the students yet,
Right.
but at least I know I got a safe haven now.
I got a place.
I got a place. I got a place I can work now. So I remember the first day of class, everybody came in. And see, back in the day, it was more prevalent with music. Today it's not. So when I walked in the classroom, they had everything laid out. It was like a smorgasbord of instruments. You had trumpets, trombones, tubas, you had clarinets, you had the drum. And he said, "Okay, I know what you're playing already, so you don't have to look at nothing else. You're gonna do drums. You playing drums." And one of the other kids, because back then you had some whites, some blacks, Latino, and all the other kids, "I want to play drums. I want to play drums." So no, Larry's gonna be the drummer. "But today is the first day. Let me try." So they get on in and try. He said, "Sit back, Larry. Sit back. Let everybody have a chance to learn."
Because he had already heard about
As
it.
you know, I'm ready to tear that. I can't wait to get up there.
Yeah.
And they up there messing around, tip-tapping and making noise.
And what you think when they playing? What's going through your mind? Like, they can't rock like me.
I'm saying, man, I had a foundation. I don't know what they do. Now remember, I'm young now, 14, 15.
You got it from grandpa.
Yeah,
You got it from
transcended to something else. But
in your old school, gotcha.
the whole thing, the
So
TV,
you were ready.
the TV, the concerts that I just watched, that I studied all the drummers and the horns.
Yeah.
So all that I'm sitting there, I can teach them. So they playing.
That was hit a little different, huh?
Yeah, I'm older. I'm more mature than them when it comes to the music because of what my foundation was.
Right.
So I knew that they couldn't touch me, at this point.
So it was your time to go.
Oh man, when I got up there, the whole place just got quiet. They looked. And they said, "This our drummer? This gonna be our drummer? Larry, that's his name. He gonna be our drummer?" Yeah.
So they felt more confident
Oh.
because the drummer, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not a big music guy, but I know a little something. The drummer is the foundation of
That's correct. That's correct. We keep tempo, we keep beat, we keep time for everybody. It's the heartbeat of the foundation. So
The cadence right there.
and after that, I became like it was kind of funny because I became like the leader, like the band leader. Well, subconsciously, and everybody else. It wasn't spoken, but they looked to me to do certain things as to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
So
now you're developing leadership skills.
leadership skills at 15, 16, at 14. I'm learning all this process.
Were you good with people dealing with your different friends, and when they came to you for things and had cares and concerns, you were starting, because what you are now, you were starting to build that then at that time.
Yeah, well, I had my mother, once again, my mother used to take us down to the village. She used to expose us to a lot of, Caucasian people, Japanese people, she thought it was important to know the different nationalities.
It is.
Because when it's time to relate to them, you almost have a comfort zone because you know who they are.
Right.
And not that you studied them, but you're around them.
And you don't have to feel threatened.
And you don't have to feel threatened, you don't have a low self-esteem. You can be able to look them in the eye and say, "Listen, this is what we're doing." And like for instance, when I worked on Wall Street, the traders can get up and they would mess up with each other and they would literally curse each other out. Profanity would be flying all over the place. And then 20 minutes later, "Hey Billy, where we going to lunch? What's going on?"
No, you're right, because it's not personal.
No, it's not a personal thing.
Now with us, people of African descent, especially African Americans, and I understand why we're sensitive, because we've been through a lot.
Yes.
But we've taken sensitivity to a new height. You can't say something to a black person without them wanting to X you out of their lives for the rest of your life. Yo, I just disagreed with you, or I made a different business decision. I'm not saying that I don't like you. Stop taking, we take everything extremely personal, and that's a handicap out there in society, because other races and other groups of people, they don't have a problem with having a frank conversation with you. They might even be telling you
That
that
right.
they don't want to do business, that set of business with you, but say, but we can do this now. And you got to be able to shift and go, oh, wait a minute, the nature of our relationship has shifted. And they're really not upset with you about it. They're just,
They don't care.
and so how's your wife doing?
They're concerned about the bottom line, and we all know what the bottom line is. So everything else is not important.
Right.
It's just the bottom line. And I think a lot of that comes from education. Has a big part to play with your objectivity, you know, how you look at things and how you view things,
Okay.
and how patient you can be with one another. See, college and education teaches you how to communicate in a way where, you know, you're not feeling threatened by someone. Because in college, you have to stand up and do public speaking in front of the classroom.
Right.
You have to interact with different nationalities within a college realm.
Right.
So you're learning, not only that you're learning yourself, but you're learning about everybody else. So therefore, you don't get angry over minuscule things that don't really matter.
Right.
You know, we're all in this thing together.
Yes.
So if I tell you, listen, I don't like the way that drum beat goes. I think it's off.
Mhm.
We got to put it together. And some of my students will say, well, how should I do it, Mr. Larry? I said, well, we're going to do it this way. I want you to follow me and make sure you get it right and go home and practice that. That's what I want you to do. They're learning how to relate and how to take orders and how to take directions.
Right.
We don't learn that.
Right.
Sometimes you tell somebody, hey, listen, go over there and take care of, man, I ain't trying to do that right now. Yeah, but I'm paying your salary.
Right.
So you need to learn how to try to do that.
Mhm.
Because see, I'm not mommy and daddy, this is not the house.
It's not the house.
They're the only ones that really care about whether you don't want to do it or do it. But in society, you got to learn to deal with everybody.
Everybody.
Even if they're nasty, even if they're rude, you got to find a way, because the bottom line, you got to eat.
Mhm. So when you got older and you got, you know, to your college years, did you want to be like a full-time musician, or you did want to go into Wall Street and into economics, or were you torn between the two worlds? What was your journey like at that point?
Well, even though I did music in school, I was a finance major.
Okay.
Because my mother always told me, you know, like I used to take care of money in the house.
Okay.
So I used to manage money. So I wanted to be around money. I wanted to understand money. I wanted to understand economics at a young age. I just wanted to understand how the world works from the money standpoint. So I majored in finance even though I did music. Now when I was on Wall Street, it's a funny thing because I could be sitting there working and trading, and then the market will slow down. I'll sit back and say, man, I could be hitting them drums right now, man. I could be knocking that out. I could be doing a gig. I could be going out gigging. SOB is calling me. I could be doing a jazz set. The market's out. Oh, 30, 45, 40, 45, 50, 55. Come on, let's go. And so once my son, Stephen, was born, he was about 5 years old. I was like reliving my dream through him. Because with all the time I was on Wall Street, I didn't do it. I mean, I used to leave at 4:30 in the morning.
You had to take a step back from the jazz.
Oh yeah. It was like over. So I did. I had to be at the trading desk by like 5:30 because the European market is open. Tokyo was opening up, Hong Kong was opening up. Because it was a 24-hour business.
Right.
And then I would get home sometime 10 o'clock at night. So I said, I got to find a way to do this thing, man. And my son, he started having an interest in the drums. And I remember setting up a drum set in the basement, and he would come down at 5 and sit on my lap, and we would go over the rudiments and play. And I was like, oh. So he was actually getting me back into the field of playing.
Gotcha.
Right? I was like teaching him, and he started learning. So now he become of age, about, I guess 12. And I was looking for a teacher for him, to teach him because I didn't have the time. And I went around looking. And I said, you know what? Let me start a Saturday program. And maybe, you can get all the teaching you need because you're going to be with me on Saturdays and some of the other brothers that I'm going to enlist to come in and help out.
Right.
So we all got together, started teaching, and then it became a music school. It became a program. Kids was coming from all over.
Wow.
Learning drums.
Well, because it's not in the schools like it used to be.
Forget it.
It was in all of the schools. That's what we did in school.
That's what we did.
I mean, I really look forward to you know, especially at IS-59, you know, we had Miss Chavis, we had Mr. Hammond, you know, we really, and we took it serious. We wanted to rock, you know, and, you know, growing up in the church, I had singers, you know, Sean Jamal Crawford was my nephew, my sister Mary was sing, so, you know, we traveled, we was like, you know, and they used to, I mean, I've been to some gospel concerts I've been to church on a Friday night that turned into a gospel concert.
Yes,
you know, everybody here, Pastor so-and-so's preaching, and then different choirs and the bands and the show up and excitement.
Yeah.
So so that's removed from the schools. So did you find that you was kind of somewhat filling that void on the Saturdays that the kids were able to get what they wasn't getting in school?
That's correct. It's two things. It's twofold. The first thing was most of the music in schools and the environment was highly expensive for the inner city kids.
Okay.
Parents just couldn't afford it.
Right.
So I made it very inexpensive for a child to come down or a student to come down and get a drum lesson or a keyboard lesson or a horn lesson. You know, you would probably pay $60 for half an hour at any local music school, and for me, you can come down $15. You can get a nice full hour just banging on them drums.
Wow.
Because I'm a big kid and I'm loving it. I see you playing. If I can teach you, and I see you starting to achieve a certain level, I'm just smiling from ear to ear because I know I put something in you that came from me.
And it wasn't all about the money because you had your regular gig, so this was just weekend. This was just giving back.
Yeah, it was never about money. It was like, if I can make somebody's life better by the time I'm on the planet, that's my motto, then I'm going to give freely and openly. Right. Of course, we got to pay bills, we got to pay rent and things of that nature.
No doubt.
But I want to make sure that I'm not going to be concerned about mommy coming down saying, well, I don't have the money. I'll make it work for you. I'm going to make it work for that young man because he needs to do something or she needs to do something.
Well, why? Somebody that's doing very well, Wall Street, you're doing your thing, you're learning about money, you're a financier, you're making money. Why come back and give your time? Why do that? So many don't.
Well, I mean, because from growing up in the city, when I look at kids, I'm one of them. And I'll always be one of those kids. Every time I see a young child come in front of me, and I look at them, and I look at a single parent mother trying to raise them, that gives me a flashback of where I started. So I want to give you the same opportunity that some guy grabbed me in the hallway and said, yo man, you better pull it together. I want to make sure these kids are pulled together. I want to make sure that I get
and you know what? It's funny because I was talking with a friend of mine. And there's people that I personally know who have went on and doing well in their life. I even have family members who have gone on and they live in communities of people that don't. I know brothers from Southside, from Jamaica, from St. Albans, that now live places where nobody looks like them, right? Their kids go to school where, and don't get me wrong, I understand we want the best for our children. We want our children to have better than we had. But our community loses so much of its assets and so much of its talent because people go off to make better lives for themselves in other places. And they bring everything they've learned and all of the values that they got and their finances. They bring it and they incorporate that into other communities that don't need it, right?
That's correct.
We lose so many brothers and sisters just in them moving across the country, moving to different places. And I'm not saying you have to stay in Southeast Queens your whole life. I'm not saying that. I moved out here to Baldwin, but there's a lot of professional black business people out here that I personally know. I have friends right here in the community. I wasn't gonna move to a place where I just wasn't gonna just move to just anywhere. And yes, we all kind of want to, you know, if you've been in one place your whole life, you might want to see someplace else. But it really, really bothers me, and that's why I admire what you're doing. So many of us go off and we get success in our personal lives, and we forget that the reason we are who we are is because of those lessons from Grandpa in the living room. Even the bad and what we went through in the hood and being poor, it still made us who we are. So don't go off with, somebody said to me, was on social media. They said, I just couldn't raise my kids in New York. I had to move. And I'm like, yo, hold on, man. Like, first of all, I know you. You was an effing chicken when you was growing up. Right? Like, how did you get so? And I see how her husband are living, and look, we each need what we need. Right. But come on. Seriously, I couldn't raise, I don't see how you raise your kids. My kids are good kids. My kids are fine. Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with my kids. And look how you turned out. Right. You know what I'm saying, Larry? Yeah. Look at you. You grew up here. How is it so? And so I really, some part of in every interview I go off for a second because there's things there. But part of, you got exposed to the world, but you didn't forget the world that you came from.
That's correct.
And too many of us do that. And we do it all the time. And I want to say, brothers and sisters, you guys that have gone off and become successful, if you moved away, if you moved to Virginia, you moved to Atlanta, wherever it is that you're living, and you living in a community of people that don't look like you, I'm not knocking you, but can you find a community nearby you of the kids that look like you and just donate your Saturdays there? Part of your Saturday, that's all I'm asking.
Very simple.
You don't got to come back here, because some of us move away for different reasons.
Yeah, that's right, that's true.
I know brothers that they can't come back.
They gotta get out real quick. I gotta get out of here.
So wherever you are, just donate your time here. But now, so you start the program, and then, did you start in Rochdale?
We started the drum program in Rochdale. It was a trap set. It was a drum set.
It was a trap set.
That's when we started, and we had maybe 6 or 7 drum sets lined up, and we'd have the kids come in, and they would just let off a lot of steam and just have a good time. So we do an hourly process.
But now this thing is all over the city.
Yeah, it's all over the city. But the marching band came later on, because I was in drum corps. So I did the marching band thing, Okay. So that was my love too, because we had a group called the Bushwick Royals.
The Bushwick Royals.
I'll never forget them. And they were in an old folks home. We used to call it the old folks home. It used to be Old Senior Citizen Center. So the city took it over, and we called it the old folks home. So we would go over there, and I remember they had a snare drum. The snare drum was so big, but I wanted to play. I didn't care. I was dragging that thing on the side. They let me play, man. I did a parade. My mother said, "You think you can do it?" I said, "Mom, I'm doing this. I don't care." Because everybody was older than me. They were big. Right. But I said, "I'm going to march." And I played that drum from, Myrtle Avenue all the way to Green Avenue and back. Because Bushwick Avenue was none but,
I know around there, yeah.
Back in the 70s, a lot of lawyers and doctors, and we would march down every year. We have a big parade. And that's where I got
That's a nice little walk.
Oh, man.
So you ain't have no bruises?
Oh, man, I was beat up, man. I think my mother kicked me out of school for 3 days. My hand.
The pain of playing.
The pain of playing, but I had to prove to myself that I can do it, and prove it to my band director that I can do it. And because I wanted to be a part so bad, and it was such a positive movement, and the band sounds so good, I just wanted to do it.
What color was y'all get up?
Oh, we had, back then, if I can remember, red and black. It was red and black, and they had metallic drums, white metallic drums.
Ooh.
And they were the old, I'm talking about 70s, so them things were like weighing like 90 pounds. One drum. It's not the wood that lightweight wood.
Them snares is big.
Yeah, that lightweight wood they got today, man. It's like 5 drums compared to,
Yeah. I remember those old stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you made it work because you had a certain toughness back then. Especially coming out of Brooklyn, where everything was tough and everything was rough and tough and tussling and fighting all the time and getting into stuff. It was just, as we would say, they were like gangster back then, being young, in the 70s.
Yeah.
So you had to find your way.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you had to, use your hands and different things to make it. But that's a part of growing up. And it's a part of the development right there,
Is there connections between, because I wanted to, you're a Wall Street guy and then you do the music. Is there a connection between the two?
Well, yeah, there is actually, because when I was on Wall Street, most of the people I worked with didn't look like me, to be honest, 95% of them. So they didn't understand when we used to have these huge screen TVs, before the flat screen TVs really came out, we had these big monitors where you would see the news in the morning. And in the news, you would hear about all of the Afro-American young men getting involved in fighting and killing, and then the crack situation. And it just made us look so bad. And I used to look at that there and I said, you know, I'm gonna make a change someday. You know, this is Wall Street here, but I'm not just gonna go home and close my door. When I go home, I'm gonna try to start something in my community to make it better. Because they always said when brothers start something, they never finish. And I always told myself, if I start something, I'm gonna finish it. And my wife said, how long are you gonna be around still trying to finish this thing? You know, you've been here 22 years, and you still, we ain't gonna finish.
We ain't finished yet.
We ain't finished yet. You know what I mean? So actually, you know, once I saw that, you know, I said I have to do something, you know, positive to the community, help the young people out. And then when I started the marching band, that was a different engagement altogether. That was a whole different baby. Once that started, I was happy about it because I can actually service more students at one time. See, with the drum class, the drum set, you get maybe 3 kids on sets and you get them up. But now you're talking 30, 40 kids at a time, you know, with horns. So I said, man, I'm a director now. I said, I'm gonna try to direct this thing like I did in college and like we did in high school. All that stuff that I've learned, I'm gonna put it all into the kids. So all that stuff came back to me and I said, we're gonna make it work. It was tough at the beginning. So we went out, me and my wife, we said, we're gonna do the marching band thing. So she said, let's go to Sam Ash today. I said, honey, I'm tired, you know, we did the club. She says, no, let's go. Let's just go. So we got in the car, we drive to Sam Ash. And lo and behold, you see, God is I'll get into a spiritual thing. I think we are driven by a spiritual realm that we cannot see and we cannot feel, but we are directed. Okay? So that particular day I was tired. And my wife said, let's go. We walk in the same match and guess what's hanging up on the wall? Marching band drums. Right there, I said to myself, oh, we gotta do this. I said, they got drums hanging up. So I said, well, how much are the drums? And the guy said, well, I can give you all this here for $3,000. Well, I said, all of you talking about the toms and the this and the that? He said, it's not the most expensive drums, but they're okay. My wife said, get them. Let's do this. So we got the drums. But we had the kids. We had no idea what was happening with this. So we rented out Rossdale Village, the auditorium, which was extra money on Saturday mornings. And I said, okay, let's get up and see what happens. So I would go every Saturday, and I would lay the drums out like I had a band. I would lay the snares out, the quads out, but no kids. The quints and the bass, and we had it set up. My wife would sit there and I said, look at that, look at that. So I almost willed the band. I almost willed it in my mind that I can visualize them being there, playing, and I'm teaching them, and we're teaching them. But there wasn't no kids there, but I kept every day. I said, my wife said, we're going there Saturday. I said, yeah, we're going to go do it again. And I would go there, pull out the drums again. And I remember the first day, 3 kids walked in, 3 young men walked in. And they said, oh, drums. So they had the excitement that I had when I was young. So I said, yeah, man, y'all come on in, and I'm going to try to teach you guys, and we can make it happen. But this is it? I said, yeah, y'all 3 is good enough. We can make it happen with y'all 3. We can do it. So I started teaching them. Then they would tell a friend. Then a friend came in, and then a friend. And before you know it, we got 25, 30 kids in front of the band. And our first big event, I never forget, we got called to do Rossdale Village Little League. They had a baseball Little League here.
Okay.
And we did the Little League parade. And I don't know what we were playing, what we were doing, but we were playing. And people was clapping, so I said, I think we almost did. So we did that parade, and I talked to the kids, and we always have a meeting after we're done about how we worked it out and how things, any questions or whatever. Let's talk about it. And they said it was great. So then we were offered to do a parade down Linden Boulevard. We took that on. There was no pay involved. There was no money involved. I had to figure out how to do this.
Right.
Because, man, I'm new to this.
Right.
So we did that parade. This is our big break. This was the icebreaker.
This is going to put y'all on front.
This is going to put us somewhere. Remember that spiritual realm, right?
Yes.
If you help people, there's favor that comes to you, when you least expect it. It's
Yes.
there. That's that realm that most
It
people.
ties right in.
It ties into some sort of
And
process.
it always comes on time.
It's always on time.
Because it has to come on time because it is time.
It's time.
It's time itself.
That's right.
So it comes on because I did this studio, Larry. I didn't have one interview set up. When you saying that, I'm almost sitting here about to cry because I remember I recorded me sitting on these steps and this was all of our junk from us moving. This was a garage. And this was all of the junk. Not junk, some of it was valuable stuff from us we just hadn't unpacked. And I was sitting in here and I said a prayer right here. I keep oils because my mother always kept prayer oils. I mean, I remember times, because I ran the streets hard when I was young.
Right.
I wasn't just a bad kid. I was
So
different.
Right.
Right? And so there's very few who were like how I was. And none of them have their freedom or are alive.
I understand.
Right? So, and I'm not, I was hurting, I was in pain. I'm not trying to say that to sound tough or
I
anything.
understand.
So there was times I used to wake up in the morning from sleeping and there would be like oil and I would go to the bathroom and brush my teeth and I had the cross on my head. My mother was always praying for me.
Wow.
So I'm in here, so I happen to have my prayer oils because prayer works.
Of
This
course.
this thing is here for a lot of prayers of people that you might have met or not met. That's why this place is even here. And so I was in here and I rubbed my prayer oils before the walls and stuff got done. And I went through I kind of, not a depression, but I went through a downtime after Trump got elected.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how could the same country that elected Barack Obama turn around and elect Donald Trump, the schizophrenia of America. So I was really in a place, and then the thought of be the change that you seek kept coming to mind. Because I'm a doer, I'm not a talker. That's never been my style. From the streets to now, I ain't about talking. Right? So be the change that you seek. My kids, it came through my kids, the universe spoke through my kids. Daddy started a podcast. That's what people are doing. But I never even heard of a podcast. Right? And so, do a podcast, do a show. Whatever I do, I'm going to do it right.
I hear you.
So I invested before the interviews with the Larrys of the world.
That's correct. That's
Hooked it up like
Yes.
it was NBC.
That's correct.
Yep.
Very nice.
Because we're going to do it at night because so I was envisioning and willing. So when you said that, I'm sitting there like, that's what I did. And so now y'all get your opportunity. Y'all get out there that day, and y'all are doing the.
I meet a commander, right? He has the Naval Cadets, and he was in charge. Naval Cadets over in Woodside. He didn't speak good English. He was from I think Ecuador or somewhere, but nice guy, and we became good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So he said to me, Larry, God rest his soul, he passed last year. He said, would you like to be in a parade? I said, we're in a parade now. What's happening? He said, I'm going to put you in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. I said, the Puerto Rican Day Parade, the one that they have on TV? I'm not talking about, you're not talking about the one in the Bronx. Right? No.
Down Fordham Road. In Gun Hill.
Gun Hill Road.
Through Bronx River Projects.
Grand Concourse. I said,
that was the real one?
He said, no, Fifth Avenue. I said, oh, boy. So we had to go get it together. Man, we practiced and we ready. And they said, you're going to meet at 47th Street. I said, man, this is the big day. All the kids are nervous and they're getting ready to go. Yeah. And we're going out first because we're going with the cadets. So when you go out first, you hit TV first. So we're on TV and we're out there playing. And I'm like, Fox 5, Channel 2, that's us. I said, wow. I said, look at that. From nothing to something. Because remember, it was just a dream. Remember they said it was all a dream, Yes. But, and then after that, we get other opportunities to do bigger things because I'm still doing God's will, right?
Yes.
I'm still providing a service.
Yes.
I'm still making people's lives better.
Yes.
So favor will always come at a time when you least expect. like the Huffington Post article. That caught me by surprise. I didn't expect that. And I didn't expect it to be that long. Fox 5 came out of nowhere. The next day we had to have the band ready to go to do an interview. Many people don't interview on Fox 5. That was a 30-minute interview that I had on that show. And I felt
They
good.
don't interview people that long. That's why I kind of knew, because I usually 25 minutes, 30 minutes, but I knew I said, I'm going to have to go a little longer than that.
And so all of these things define positive reinforcement and helping others. Good things will always come your way. And I'm not just saying that, I'm living it, and I understand it.
I was reading in the Huffington Post article that test scores in schools that you have your bands in have went up, and those schools actually have come into demand. People want their children to go to those schools because y'all have the program there. That's incredible, man.
Well, you see, when you look at an inner city school, there's a lot of dynamics there, right? You know, some poverty, some households are disrupted, some kids, you know, drugs. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. You know, a lot of kids, they call them at risk. I don't call them at risk. I just call them situations, because I was one of those situations.
Okay.
So when a child comes into a classroom, and I'll give you a scenario real quick, and I'll try to be prompt with it. But when students walk into a classroom, right away, their first objective is to turn up. Is to turn up, and I mean by turn up, that's the term they use to just get crazy, wild, and do what they want to do.
Right.
And they ain't trying to listen to nobody.
Right.
So it's not really the music that changes a child, it's how you talk to them. And you gotta know their language. And there's a certain language that I've learned over the years, once again, going back in time, on how to relate to a child, because I was one of them.
Gotta meet them at their level.
Meet them at their level. So when I walk in the classroom and I say, okay, listen up. I'm the alpha. You guys are going to do what I tell you to do, because it's going to be a problem. I have all your numbers, your parents, your daddy, grandma, everybody on speed dial. So this is my phone. Y'all coming with some stuff. I'm going to hit it and I'm going to put it on board, on speaker, and we're going to talk to mama.
We're going to blow you up.
Like Uncle Larry's at the house, and this is what we're going to do. What y'all going to do?
Right.
We ain't messing
And they don't want to get embarrassed, because some of their mothers will be like, Taekwon, I'm going to bust your ass when you get here. So they don't want to hear that.
So, and I'm like, and I tell them, I'm like Uncle Larry at the house talking to mama. And this is what's going to happen. So when you start being that way, and you don't deviate from it.
And they know it's coming from a place of love, too.
Place of love, because now, when you get in there and you start performing, and you start molding them, and they start wanting to please you, and want to play, and want to perform, they become different. Then the school starts to change, because in one school I see 240 kids a week. From 6th grade, 7th, 8th grade. They all take music with me. So they got to see me first.
How many schools are you in?
I can't even keep up with it. But let's say several elementary schools. I used to didn't do elementary.
Okay.
But I went to elementary because I thought that, you know, when you see middle school and you see high school, you got to find out where they came from, why they like this.
Right.
So I said, well, let me see if some elementary school they
Catch
try
them
to
before they get.
But man, let me tell you something. Some of these elementary schools, them little dudes, they ready right now. They ready. They come in there. I walked into school, and they only gave me the kids that were disrupting the class. There was about 20 of them. They said they were terrorizing the school, but I said, I could elementary.
Oh, you want to work here? You want to program? Take Day-Day.
You laugh, but
Day-Day.
But that was the scenario. So what they did was they said, well, listen, we got 25 of them, and the teachers can't teach. So do you think you can come in at this time and this time for 2 hours and take all of the kids that's disrupting the school so we can teach? So I said, oh, okay. So you want to give me 5 or 6 kids from each class for 2 hours that's disrupting? I said, I'll take them. The teachers come to me, oh God, I've been here since September, and this is the first time that I can actually say I teach without trying to kick 7 kids out of the class. Thank you, sir. I said, it's a pleasure being here. I'm glad that I can help you teach.
Wow.
I can help you. And they are just that bad.
Yeah.
So we bring in the drums, we talk to them. I always talk to them before we get started, try to give them an idea of what we need to do, and they start to change. It's a process, but with love, understanding, and patience, you can get anything done.
Yes.
But you gotta be patient.
Yes, because those are eternal qualities,
That-
and those are, you know, essential values that are everlasting.
Yes.
So what do you have going on now? I know you got an event coming up that I plan on being at. Talk to me about the state of what it is that you're doing now and what you got coming up.
All right, so right now on May 5th, we have the All Borough Classic. And that's a culminating event with all the schools that we're actually in.
Okay.
So each year, all of them get a chance to perform on the big stage. That's the big coming out party for a lot of the schools and a lot of young ones. And they really get up for it. They want to come out, they're excited. You know, every time you have something coming up and it's an event, you get, oh, I can't wait to do it, I'm gonna try my best, and I can't wait to get it done. Every year I try to do something different. You know, I plan ahead, and I have different ideas of things that I want to do. And this year, I think I'm interested in opening up a program just for horns, just for brass, for
Okay.
all young people that want to learn the tuba,
Okay.
the trumpet, the trombone, just one big orchestra of this brass with brothers and sisters. And we're playing
Ooh.
all
Brass
types
of brothers and sisters.
brothers and sisters
Of the brass.
of the brass.
We came up with a name, Larry.
You know
Brothers
what's
and
up.
sisters of the brass.
Yes, you know how it
See?
works.
Come on, we're gonna copyright that. Get that.
Yeah, and we're gonna get them together, and that's the idea, the brainstorming process. They're gonna have one of their nice. I foresee visualizing a nice jacket, tie, crescent, and they're getting there with their trumpets and trombones and clarinets, and we're playing all classic music, classic stuff with the horns. We've taken everybody back to where it started to now, and that's my vision. And remember, I had drums there with nothing, no students, so I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to will it into a reality. I'm going to make it happen.
Oh, listen, I already know. I'm getting chills. I already know it's gonna happen. Give me one. Before we end, what is your most valuable lesson that you've learned through music and working with children?
The valuable lesson to me is to appreciate life, appreciate life to the fullest. Try to love your fellow man no matter what, and try to always give them the benefit of the doubt. Understand or try to create an atmosphere, a stronger atmosphere for our young brothers and sisters so they can realize that they're special. So these are the things that I've learned over the years that I stay with. So every time I go in front of a student, I see myself like looking in the mirror, and I say, I'm going to change you. I'm going to make you better. It's going to one way or the other, we're going to make this thing happen. Because I was you. And, you know.
Give me one word to describe Larry.
See, this is where I start to get a little tear because there's several words that could describe me. But I would say, you know, my legacy to leave Black is to say, I cared. I cared, I loved, and I created. Those are the things that would describe me to the fullest.
Wow, that's nice. Listen, you almost make me cry.
Right? Yeah, trying to get emotional on
You're not
here.
doing it on the show. You're just gonna make me cry.
I'm on national TV, man. I want them to cry the lady. They take a tissue, but hide the tissue so it don't show on camera. I get it real quick. Okay, what's next? You know.
I love, I cared,
I create.
and I created. Yeah. Listen, another great episode of Conversations with Malik. Here with Mr. Larry, man, been in the community for years and years and years, helping and changing lives, and that's what this show is about, and that's what we're about. Remember, I'll end the show in my usual fashion. Brother Malik loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.
That's great.